Hello everyone. So I'm here with Fifi. Obviously the two of us are kind of behind the Stand in the Park UK, for those of you that don't know us. We've jumped on for a little catch up. There's a lot going on for you at the moment, Fifi. You're moving. On Sunday it was your last stand in St Albans, which I bet was emotional.
Yeah, it was it's the last stand for a while, so I will be going back down to visit. But yeah, it was, we had a really lovely leaving do the night before as well. So all the standers came down and we packed the pub out and had a little party. And yeah, moved after the stand, like had the last stand and then got on the road after. So yeah, kind of up to our necks in boxes and stuff here at the moment, but yeah, lots and lots of stuff going on. Yeah,
Moving's always a nightmare. Lucky. Got someone to make you coffee now. That's nice.
Definite perks. Yeah, I mentioned this actually in my live from St Albans, that I was just looking around at all the people there, and I did keep welling up, you know. And my sister put all these lovely like banners and balloons. We had cakes, and so many people bought lovely presents. And I was just looking around, thinking, my God, if it wasn't for the stands, then yeah, none of this would be happening. I just know so many people, and that was just like a few of them, the people that live in the area and that could make it down. And it really is like this massive support network. And now I've moved up here to the Midlands, I'm already in contact with people up here. There's stands dotted around, there's all kinds of other stuff going on. And yeah, it just kind of brought it home again. It's like, what is it, 13 months since we started Hello You.
Yeah, I kept saying like
oh, you're just adorable. You're just too adorable.
yellow collar as well.
Of course, yeah. But yeah, it was just it's just so important. Again, I know I'm constantly banging the drum about keep your stands going, it's really important.
Yeah,
Maintain, but it really is, and again, like people coming up to me that have said what a lifesaver it's been. And I was saying the other day, I had a little bit of a rant about, you know, people that are like, oh well, you know, standing in a park, it's not enough, it's not doing things. And someone actually said to me, oh yeah, it's great that a stand in the park has saved lives, but like there can be a but after that, you know, but we should be doing it, blah blah blah, you know. And you think, oh, you know, honestly, it's not everything needs to be a huge action. I'm not saying that it's not required, but when you've got people coming from this place of fear, and it always is, when they're looking around like, oh my God, we're not doing enough, and people should be doing this and people should be doing that. It's coming from that place of fear and panic. We're not doing enough, we need to be doing this. And actually, if every person just focused on getting strong and empowered within themselves and not feeling fearful, that's when all the inspiration comes. So the right action, which could be a huge thing, but it might be really seemingly small, but again, it's the ripple effect, isn't it?
yes, that bottom line is you know, be the change you want to see in the world. And you know, the change does start with each and every one of us. And we need to be living our lives from a place, you know, that's sort of empowered and strong and confident. And if you're isolated or alone or feeling fear, you know, approaching life with that kind of attitude is sort of, you know, it makes it much more difficult. And I think, you know, that is the bottom line of the stands. You know, when you've got people in your corner, when you know that there's people there that have got your back, you've got that support network, it enables you to obviously, you know, be more empowered. And I've certainly found that, you know, over the last year, you know, I feel, yeah, honestly, the most sort of empowered, confident, strong I've ever felt. I didn't realise I had the level of strength in me that, you know, I've sort of found, and it's been quite a revelation, really. And then being a part of the community that we've built here in Basingstoke is just incredible. I've never sort of had that kind of close-knit friendship group, felt, you know, that acceptance within a group and a community. And yeah, it's a really powerful thing. And I think, you know, people power, we keep saying it, people power is what makes the difference. And when people come together, that's where these, you know, the things beyond, you know, those individual changes can take place. When you're with like-minded people, be it, you know, the preparation side of things, be it the outreach side of things, you know, whatever actions we're going to then, you know, take for the future, you know, that comes when people come together. So for me, at least, I kind of see a Stand in the Park as that community hub where the people come together, and it brings, you know, a lot to this cat. It brings so much to everyone on a personal level, on a community level, on a, you know, change making level. And I think that's what's so important. And perhaps it's just that people don't necessarily kind of see, you know, the importance of that, maybe.
Yeah, and I think some people are just a bit unrealistic about, you know, like, oh, we should all be storming Parliament. Well, actually, I've been involved, and I know a lot of people within the movement that have been involved in sort of planning quite major stuff. They're nowhere to be seen when it actually comes down to it. Come on then, and you've got about 6 or 7 of you, and generally the ones that are pointing out what everybody else should be doing, they've gone very, very quiet when I've said, well, what is it you've been doing? What have you? And there's radio silence, because again, it's that sitting in a place of fear, focusing on all the, you know, the terrible things that seem to be unfolding around us, and it actually makes you impotent with fear. You're like, oh, you can't actually do anything, you're paralyzed then. And there is this kind of inability in some people to see how every little action, and this is like on a quantum level, this isn't just, you know, so this is actually, you know, it's quantum physics, that every little action, even every thought we have, has an effect on the whole. So if you've got one person who really like goes through the fear and comes out the other side, and they're rooted and empowered, and they're you know, then the path is clear. You get the signs, don't you? You get the things that tell you like the next step to do, and it's completely aligned and it's right. And the impact that has on the collective is huge. So it always comes back down to us as individuals to be doing that. But then you have that, it spreads, doesn't it? So with the stands, for example, I've said about my own, you know, when we were first meeting and the police were turning up, we were bricking it. You know, I mean, I've always been quite, you know, a bit bolshy with authority, and but even I was like, I've never really had dealings.
Me neither. We had the same,
you know,
situation.
Not like that, not where there's a really real possibility of being casted off it, you know, especially when we first started out, and it's like my, you know, my name is all over kind of everything. She's the ringleader. I did go through it. I had to go through it and come out the other side, because I did think, oh my God, you know, I could end up like in prison or something. But then I was like, I went through it all and I was like, well, it would be worth it. I wouldn't change anything, but I had to do that sort of work. And then you sort of empower others and they're empowering you. But it's all because you're doing it yourself, and you kind of we get inspired, don't we, by each other, and that's how it spreads. So it doesn't have to be massive, great action. I mean, if you look at it, this whole thing, everything that we're in would be over if everyone just said, no, not doing it. Simple non-compliance, that's that's a relatively small ask, really. No, I'm not doing that, I'm not wearing that, I'm not gonna sign that, or that's all it takes. It's not like a huge thing, and I think that's what overwhelms people. And it can get, it can bring you down then, because you do look around and think, well, we're not doing enough.
Yeah, I think the kind of we're not doing enough is very dangerous thinking. I mean, I sort of had this discussion the other day with some of the mods in the UK group, is because we've had a member of the group sort of posting, we're not doing enough, the community's fractured, it's this, it's that. And it's very much a case of, there has to be some sort of balance. We as much as we all care so deeply about humanity, the issues we're facing, I mean, I myself, I've got a young family, and all the other stuff that goes on in your life generally, that you can't just abandon that to focus all your energy on the fight. But at the same time, we're all dealing with our own issues. If you're struggling with your mental health or your finances, obviously they have a massive impact on your energy, on your capability to kind of do anything. So you always have to look within yourself and say, am I doing the best I can? It doesn't matter whether anyone else agrees, whether that's, enough, or whether that's, if in your own circumstances, you feel that you are doing the best you can, then I think that is enough. No one can ask any more of any of us. We've got so many commitments, and life is so difficult and complicated sometimes, that there has to be that balance where, yes, you're engaging in, the pushback, and making your stand and that kind of stuff, and perhaps the preparation side of things within the community. You've also got your own family and your own well-being as well. We can't just ignore that as well. We need to ensure that we're looking after ourselves. So I think we say balance a lot, don't we? But it does come down to it. And I think this judgment of each other needs to stop. If you're not doing enough, you're not doing this, you should be doing that. Enough with the should, enough judgment.
Who are we to say what the right thing is for anyone else to be doing? Because we might look at something from the outside and go, oh, but from tiny acorns, mighty oaks grow. So something might look quite insignificant, or but it's not, it really isn't. So I think people need to focus on, what are you doing yourself, and not judge yourself either, because you can definitely, a lot of us who are involved in all of this, we've got that kind of, we want to save the world, we've always been like it, and we're deeply wounded by the suffering of others, and we just want to
make it stop. At the moment, with the children's jabs being rolled out,
I mean,
on the 4th of April, 5 to 11s, it's absolutely heartbreaking. And recently in the news, there's been stories where you think, the details aren't there. I'm not going to speculate, but there's always that possibility of a connection given what we know about the side effects, and it does break your heart. And I think we have to be very careful with our own energy, that we don't allow it to kind of deeply, I don't know how to find the right words, but it's kind of, we can do our best to save these children, we can do our best to put the information out there and guide people towards what we feel is absolutely the right thing to do, which is to say no. But at the end of the day, we can't take responsibility for the actions of anybody else. They are on their path, and that is their their choice, and we have to send them on their way with love and compassion, and step back. We can only try our best, and that is it.
Problem is, I think, is that again, the people like us who are compelled, we just can't bear any kind of injustice, and it's a very, very heavy burden to bear if you're taking it upon yourself. And I've been there I've been hopeless then, no use to anyone, because I've literally been incapacitated with grief at the state of the world, and then I can't do anything. So it's true, we have to absolutely do what we can. But again, when you're coming from a place where you've moved through the grief and you get to that, it's like I call it radical acceptance. It's not condoning anything or saying that's okay, it's just absolute acceptance of everything. Right, okay, this is where we are, this is real, this is happening. And once you've stopped fighting the fact that it is existing, then you can do something, and it releases all this energy, and you don't feel that disempowered and like a victim of all the circumstance, and powerless to do anything. So even when it is something that heartrending, like with the kids, you're coming from a place of it again, it's clearer, everything's clearer, and you're having to accept, okay, we're going to lose children. And I mean, the way I kind of deal with that thing more is to get that much broader perspective. So I step back, because there's no way that we are just these bodies and we're just here for, and that's it. So the way I see it is, look, these children, whoever it is that we lose through this, that's their soul journey. That that's what they've agreed to themselves, and of course you can get into the whole parallel realities and things where they're absolutely fine and blooming and flourishing in other realities, but for this one, where literally nothing could be done to change that within this reality we're experiencing here, it's because that it's all part of the fabric. And again, it doesn't mean it makes it all, oh well, that's fine then. It's not like that, but it makes it more bearable.
I think it's whatever kind of beliefs people hold. I've never been I've never been a person of faith or had that much. I've always had an idea of something bigger than ourselves, and over the last couple of years it's something, the spiritual aspect is something I've developed a lot more within myself, and connected a lot more with that. And I totally sort of agree with what you're saying. It's the kind of belief system I subscribe to, and I think it does make it easier. But I think if you perhaps don't believe in the spiritual side of things, or a religion of any sort, I don't know, I suppose it goes back to that radical acceptance. It's something I was taught. I had DBT, dialectical behavioural therapy, and radical acceptance was one of the things that came up in there. And it is quite a powerful thing. It's quite difficult to really grasp, and it does take a while and a lot of practice to kind of cement that radical acceptance into who you are. But
it's every day.
But it does help.
Every day when you're feeling there could be any number of triggers like throughout just a normal day, where you're like, you do have to stop and take the time to just like, otherwise you can't, that energy is not released to be able to let loose and do these amazing things, because you're fighting what is. And as soon as you can go, okay, I don't agree with this, but here we are, then it makes things very different. Is that, there she is.
Hey, Steph.
I'm so sorry for my tardiness. I was going to log on with my laptop, but
no worries. It's nice to have you here. How are you doing? How are things in Oz?
Thank you. Lovely to be here. But I'm so sorry I'm late. Life, hey? It's a bit crazy, isn't it?
Just a little.
So what have you guys been discussing?
Oh, well, we're talking about just me moving up here, all the stuff around that, and how much I appreciate just that knowing everyone. You know, I was looking around at everyone and thinking, well, if it wasn't for a stand in the park, I wouldn't know all these amazing people. It's just been, yeah, it's just been fantastic, really. So yeah, we've just been putting the
Makes a huge difference to your life, doesn't it?
Massive. Massive. Yeah. And yeah, I was, you know, I've said this a couple of times now, because we're in this kind of limbo here again. So obviously the COVID thing's kind of taken it has taken a back seat, but it seems to be like a resurgence again. People are getting ill again, you know, all of this stuff. So they're definitely bringing it back out, but it's not like we've got restrictions and things. So I think a lot of people kind of like, you know, and they might think, well, what's the point in going to the stands anymore? And it's like, it's so much more than just, you know,
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
we're
really,
seeing the exact same thing over here.
Yeah.
And I don't know about over there, but I know that a lot of people over here are using the fakies.
Oh, see, because we haven't really got things in full. Well, not in England.
Yeah, you wouldn't even need them anymore.
No, it was only for a couple of months, wasn't it, for just a handful of places, like the big venues, you know. But it would never really became something that, I mean, for me personally, I do come from a place of like, I do not comply. Like I'm not showing my papers. I mean, each to their own,
Yes.
and we've all got our choices to make. But for me personally, I'd rather just not go somewhere than, you know, engage in that practice of having the fake papers. But obviously, you know, there are certain circumstances where it may well be that, you know, there's something you really need to do for whatever reason. You need to go to the
hospital to be with your, you know, dying parent, you know, or your child.
As I say, no judgment here, judgment. But yeah,
no judgment. But I'm with you. I can't imagine a day where I will show papers. I don't understand how this is even a question in a civilized society, to be honest. Like, show papers. A lot of people aren't even aware here that we still have restrictions, you know, because the state I'm living in, Queensland, in Australia, I think are about 95% jabbed, and a lot of people just are okay with that. So I got my jab, so I show my tick, and then life goes on as normal.
Yeah.
But for the 5% who didn't, and the small percent of that who aren't using, you know, the tick, it's insane. I could like go shopping and walk right by someone, but we can't sit, you know, 2 meters away in a cafe. I don't understand how people are okay with that. That's my big problem with the world today.
It's again, it comes down to that. If it's not I mean, a lot of people have had these jabs because they're under this illusion that it's saving their life, and yeah, they think it's the right thing to do and all that. You know, I'm sure the majority of people have gone in with the best of intentions, but if it's not affecting them, then there's kind of this attitude of, well, why?
I think there's a decent chunk of the people who got jabs who only, especially here in Australia, they only got it because their job mandated it.
Yeah.
You know, and what does that say about our society too? You know, that this person got forced to have a medical procedure under threat of losing their job.
Yeah, I know. And then the government can still sit back and go, oh, but we didn't
force you, it was your choice. I think that's for this.
I know. So it is unbelievable. And I think, again, like I keep rattling on, I keep saying the same things over and over, but this is what is so important to stick together, because now we're seeing people are dropping like flies like that. I mean,
I'm hearing stories all the time, people who know people.
Exactly. Now it's getting very close to home. I mean, thank God, touch wood, so far it's not anyone that I know personally, but lots of people around me know people or are close to people that have, and we're talking, you know, in their 30s, 40s, dropping dead of heart attacks. And I think we are going to need each other so much to get through this, because a lot of people are,
It's going to be very sad.
it really, and I don't know how much you can actually prepare for. I mean, we were talking about this, I remember Brady talking about ages ago, you know, and people are, oh, don't be doom and gloom. It's like, no, of course we balance it out. But he was saying a lot of people are going to die, and we're starting to see, I think this is the beginning of the cull, basically. And all we can do is just be there for each other, because we all know people that have been
on the flip side, there's what.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back. Go
But
on.
I just want to say, Fifi, on the flip side of that, I am seeing people who
She's frozen. I can't hear yourself. I know, we're waiting. Ugh. I want to know what's on the flip side.
for themselves,
Oh.
they really play. So look, they're all learning to see. Now listen to me, so I don't know what that's about.
I didn't catch
Hey
any
there?
of that, Self. It went.
Yeah, you froze still,
went-
unfortunately.
What did you?
You guys froze for me.
Yeah, I don't know how.
On the flip side, what I'm seeing, I'm hearing a lot of people who have like essentially been forced out of their job that they were doing, are now self-employed, or they're doing what they really wanted to do in the first place. And that's been amazing to see, you know, like some I was talking to someone the other day, and they always wanted to, like, you know, make these little things and, you know, just be a crafter, creative person. And because they don't have their old admin job anymore, they've got time to create, and they go to markets now, and they've started a little Etsy shop, you know, and they're happy.
Every cloud and all that.
Every cloud.
True, isn't it? I was saying this in my live, that nothing's ever completely bad.
No.
It can't. It's the nature of the universe, whatever you want to call it. So it doesn't matter how dreadful, you know, circumstances can be. There's always good stuff that comes out of it, because that's what's in us. Like, it doesn't go away. The love doesn't go away. All the great things, they don't go away. Appearances can tell you otherwise, but actually there's just so many great things that have actually come out of terrible times. They always have done. And if we can choose to focus on that more, it grows and grows and grows, and then you see it everywhere, and it spreads for everyone. That becomes the collective, like the consensus of reality. So I do think, I mean, a few people have said before, you know, this whole situation we're in, it has to be this terrible, this bad, for it to be the catalyst for another level of, like, just amazing, like what is waiting on the other side is something that we, just everything we've ever wanted. But it's quite gross, really, but like Lance,
well, we can't let us
get the evil out.
But we can't let ourselves be consumed by, you know, the grief, by the anger, by the sadness, by the depression. That is the thing. And I think and I think the isolation, you know, and has led to people, you know, taking their lives, just self-harming and stuff like that. Because even if you just like make one friend at Stand in the Park, you know, that is one person who you just think, maybe I'll just call up such and such and, you know, just have a chat with them. Or, you know, when you're feeling sad, and that could make all the difference. That could be a life-saving thing, to give someone a call.
Exactly. One of those,
and have them by mate, you know.
It's what we were talking about just now, actually. It's just like the seemingly small things can have a massive impact. I mean, for the people who have said it's saved their lives, having that, because you get on that spiral. I think we probably all know what it feels like. and it just, you cannot ever underestimate the power of that, the power we've all got within us. Just, you know, we won't even know, but you know, I've used this a few times where, you know, say you go to a supermarket and someone's in there and they've said to themselves, if I don't get a sign today for a reason to stick around, I'm out of here, I'm taking myself out. You know, I think I read about this actually happening before, and then someone's just smiled at them for no reason, and that's given them that lift. That's their little sign. The person who smiled hasn't got a clue. That person could go on and then meet someone, I don't know, they end up having kids, and you've got this whole, you know, because that person smiled. You know, it's not all about these huge things. If we're more conscious of how we're living,
the ripple effect.
Exactly. Yeah.
And did you guys ever hear about that experiment they did with the rats about hope?
Yes, is that where they were in the water for 15 minutes, and then they pulled them out
to drown,
and then 6 hours or something, wasn't it?
They got pulled out after that 15 minute and given a little bit of cheese, you know, and have a little breather. And then they went in the water again, and they lasted for like, I think it was like 24 hours. It was a ridiculous amount, 16 hours, something like that. I don't know the details, but it was a ridiculous amount of time because they had the hope that if they just kept going, they'd get out of the water.
It's a little bit like 3 weeks to flatten the curve, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're not waiting for
we've
anyone
lifted
to
the
pull us out.
restriction. Here you go, have some freedom as a reward, and then deadly variant. It's just 3 more weeks to flatten the curve.
It is.
That's true.
It works the opposite way, but
so we just got to get out of that water and run and hide in those little mousy holes.
Exactly.
You know, or like just link up with all the other mice and just stage a coup.
Yeah.
Army of mice.
Oh my goodness, you guys, crazy times. Have you guys talked about the topical slap?
Oh God,
no. I personally, I kind of just
celebrities are not even on my
by.
thing anymore. But I would like to tell you one thing I learned, which is completely factual. So we all know that Pfizer was one of the main sponsors of the Oscars. But did you know that they are developing a alopecia drug?
Yes. Oh, fancy that. Wow.
It's all very coincidental, isn't it? I mean, it is the word of the 2020s so far. It's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Just
I'm a coincidence theorist, you know. I see coincidences and I wonder.
Yeah, it's so blatant.
Anyway, so yeah, I just had to because there's so many memes already, aren't there?
My God.
Yeah, I know. Some of them are great, aren't they?
I'm glad a lot of people have just instantly called it out.
I'm just going to do a shout out. Thank you to all the meme makers. Thank you for
you live for memes, don't you, Sil?
I love meme. My meme folder is fat. Yeah.
Still the meme master.
Hardly. I'm just a little like meme amateur.
You're the meme queen. Yeah, so I think we must be coming to the end. I haven't had anything flash up actually to say what time we're on.
No, I haven't, but I do have to go and get my son from nursery in about 5 minutes. So
life goes on, doesn't it? Life just keeps on trucking.
But yeah, so another nice catch up, and we'll do it again next week. But yeah, any last words from anyone?
Just get out there and connect with the community. Honestly, that's all we can do really at this point, and it's good. It's fun.
It is indeed. All right, lovelies. Okey-doke. Right, well, have a lovely.
Thank you both.
Nice to see you both.
Yeah, lovely to see you, and we'll catch up again.
Love to you too, and love to Sanders everywhere.
Yeah, lovely.
Yes.
Peace.